Good day everyone, I'm Jisrael Mojado, a student of Caraga State University Cabatbaran campus, taking the course of Bachelor of Technical Vocational in Teachers Education, major in Food Service Management Technology. Our group topic is 21st Century Skills and Teaching Resources. My assigned topic is all about collaboration. Collaborative activities are any activities where learners are working cooperatively in pairs or groups, working together in order to complete a task. Collaborative activities can be used for any age range and in any subject. Collaboration don't matter about ages as long as they were working as a group and cooperate well. Learner at any stage of language development can take part, particularly if those who are new to English are grouped with supportive peers. In global learning, you get involved with different peers with different nationalities. Good communication skills is an advantage. It will help you to understand them and have a good communication status with them, especially in speaking English. You can carry out orders with confidence. Here are some examples of collaborative setups. First is stump your partner. Students take a minute to create challenging questions based on the lecture content up to that point. Students pose the question to the person sitting next to them. To take this activity a step further, ask students to write down their questions and hand them in. These questions can be used to create tests or exams. They can also be reviewed to gauge student understanding. This kind of setups encourage the students to gather more questions. The more questions they raise, the more learning they got. Brainstorming are very effective strategies in terms of partners or group learnings. Next is think, pair, share or write, pair, share. The instructor poses a question that demands analysis, evaluation, or synthesis. Students take a few minutes to think through an appropriate response. Students turn to a partner or small groups and share their responses. Take this a step further by asking students to find someone who arrived to an answer different from their own and convince their partner to change their mind. Student responses are shared within larger teams or with the entire class during a follow-up discussion. This setup makes the student to get involved with the activity, impart their own thoughts about the topics, and help teammates to generate larger ideas which can help in fulfilling their task. Next is catch up. Stop at a transition point in your lecture. Have the students turn a partner or work in small groups to compare notes and ask clarifying questions. After a few minutes, open the floor to a few questions. These sit-ups, the teacher wants the student to do effort to meet the standard or expectation that teacher wanted for their students. Next is fishbowl debate. Ask students to sit in groups of 3. Assign roles. For example, the person on the left takes one position on a topic for debate. The person on the right takes the opposite position. And the person in the middle takes notes and decides which side is the most convincing and provides an argument for his or her choice. Debrief by calling on a few groups to summarize their discussions. In high school days, we always experienced these kinds of setup which we really enjoyed much. Bursting out of all of your thoughts and ideas just to win a side, which is really good to see. Not because it is enjoyable, but because of the good output you can develop by this kind of collaboration. The next is case study. Create 4 to 5 case studies of similar difficulty. Have the students work in groups of 4 or 5 to work through and analyze their case study. Provide 10 to 15 minutes to work through the cases. Walk around and address any questions. Call on groups randomly and ask the students share their analysis. Continue until each case has been addressed. This kind of setup helps the students participate with full attention, which much more time and effort to seek for proof and evidence just to solve the case. It will develop or improve their ability in analyzing situation and analyzing data. Next is the team-based learning. Start a course unit by giving students some tasks to complete, such as reading or lab assignments. Consider assigning these to be completed after class. Check students' comprehension of the material with a quick multiple choice quiz. Have students submit their answers. Assign students to group and have them review their answers with group members to reach consensus. Consensus means general agreement. Have each group submit one answered quiz. Record both the individual student assessment scores and the final group assessment score, both of which are used toward each student course grade. Deliver a lecture that especially targets any misconceptions or gaps in knowledge the assessment reveal. Give groups a challenging assignment, such as solving a problem or applying a theory to a real-world situation. Next is group problem solving. There are many instructional strategies that involve students working together to solve a problem, including inquiry-based learning, authentic learning, and discovery learning. While they have their own unique characteristic, they fundamentally involved. These setup make the student to become as one, despite of their differences, just to finish the given task. Even though the students have different attitudes and characteristics, they are going to participate because they have the same goal. Next is presenting students with a problem, providing some structure or guidance towards solving the problem. Note, however, that they are all student-centered activities in which the instructor may have a very minimal role. Reaching a final outcome or solution, these setups always happen in school. Mostly, the teacher present a problem to solve and the student also get involved to analyze the problem and give their thoughts about it. After they meet the standard of the teacher, after she or he agree, the task is done. Students learn from their own with the proper guidance of the teacher. That's all and thank you. Wear mask and stay safe.
Good day everyone. I am Charity Panugaling. I'm taking up Bachelor of Technical Vocational and Teachers Education with a major of Food Service Management. And I will be discussing what is higher order thinking skills or HOTS. So what exactly do we mean by higher order thinking skills? As they are complex cognitive skills involving analysis, evaluation, synthesis, judgment, and creativity. This means higher order thinking skills require students to go beyond simply memorizing facts. Instead, students are expected to do something with the information they are learning. This may mean identifying a relationship between ideas based on what they have learned. Benjamin Bloom was among the first to codify the idea of lower and higher thinking skills. First developed in 1950s, Bloom's taxonomy is still widely recognized by the educators today. In this framework, skills are taught to build upon each other, starting with the most basic skills, recall and comprehension, progressing through more complex skills, application and analysis, and culminating with higher order thinking skills such as synthesis, evaluation, and creation. The pyramid has been revised over the years, but the basic idea remains the same. First is the creating. Use information to create something new or creating new math formulas. Evaluating or critically examine information and make judgments to critique, test, defend, or criticize. Analyzing or identifying the steps and using a number of operations. Next is applying, or let me say problem solving, seeking and identifying strategies and reasoning. Understanding, or the ability to explain, interpret, paraphrase, or discuss. Lastly is remembering, or memorizing and identifying or define a formula. Here we explore the broader benefits of organizations when they choose to focus on developing higher order thinking skills with their staff. First is participants build skills for creativity and innovation. It is the ability to create and innovate are among the most important skills required of employees today. As technology advances, both organizations and employees need to adapt to the rapidly changing environment in order to keep up with the pace. Skills need to develop. Unfortunately, as creative thinking is not currently a focus in schools, many new graduates enter the workforce without having been encouraged to use these skills at school. Next is, learning becomes more interesting. It is because when learners are encouraged to engage with higher order thinking skills, this requires far more of their attention and utilizes more of their brain capacity. As a result, learners are more engaged in professional development and online learning courses which implement the activity types are often far more applicable in real-life scenarios. Next, increased potential for innovation within organizations. When employees engage with learning tasks that give them the confidence to be innovative, the potential for new ideas within an organization will quickly develop across the ecosystem. As technology progresses towards a faster and faster rate, the ability to innovate will become a key advantage for organizations to remain competitive in the market. Then, learners build transferable skills for real-life scenarios. When learners are engaged with higher-order thinking skills through online courses, they will also be more likely to apply this knowledge after the training is over. Learning tasks which encourage divergent thinking development skills which can be applied to a broad range of situations and are not bound by specific topics or the requirements of a job role. Finally, more opportunities for collaborative learning, which means learning activities which encourage higher order thinking are often more conducive to employees working collaboratively, while finding ways for learners to work together can be challenging with online learning. Tools such as discussions boards and information sharing do allow for participants to share their ideas during the learning process. So, that would be all. And the last part of this lesson will be discussed by Mr. Blanes. Thank you.
Creative learning. Creative learning is a process of acquiring knowledge and abilities using creative processes. It is, in other words, creating theories, tests, stories, solution, analysis, and designs as opposed to simply trying to memorize information. There are 6 types of creative learning, which is the conjecture, forming theories, questions, abstractions, and analysis and improvisation. First is the conjecture, asking learners to guess at information that is missing. Next is the forming theories, to explain observation. An example of this is hypothetical question, a question that is asked to elicit opinions and personal belief. This question is not based on fact, but rather on imagined scenarios. Next is question, questions that allows for unconstrained answers. Example is open-end questions, questions that cannot be answered with a yes or no response. Abstractions, working with ideas that differ from reality but are nonetheless useful in explaining it. Next is analysis, asking learners to break things down into their component parts. The last one is improvisation. Example of this is games and exercises designed to stimulate improvisation.